And then I don't know if you follow him, but the Pleb reporter on Twitter, I don't even know I've met him. I don't even know his real name. He's the Pleb on Twitter, and he does tremendous work online at like just angering all the right people.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pleb. In today's story, Pierre Poilievre absolutely demolishes another lying journalist. Today, press conference, journalist lies about what Pierre Poilievre said yesterday, and Pierre puts on an absolute masterclass on how to deal with liars. As well, tonight, Mark Gerretsen continues embarrassing himself as he put out a tweet today calling people stupid with a spelling error in the tweet. And in our last story, people all around the world hate Justin Trudeau, and a compilation has come out. It is amazing. You won't want to miss tonight's story. Stick around. Today's episode has been brought to you by Beaver Bitcoin, Canada's best Bitcoin exchange. Now, everyone knows the liberals and the left hate Bitcoin. And you know what that makes me want to do? It makes me want to buy Bitcoin because everyone knows the left is dumb. The left is ignorant. So when dummies say Bitcoin's bad, it makes me want to buy more. So if you guys want some Bitcoin, head over to beaverbitcoin.com. The link's in the description below. Thanks for sponsoring my channel. Welcome to a Thursday report. How is everyone doing tonight? We're going to have ourselves a very good show because Pierre Poilievre is going absolutely viral again over a back and forth with a reporter, and we're going to get to that press conference right away. But before we do that, I have a big announcement here, a huge announcement. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. But yeah, the Pleb has officially ratioed Justin Trudeau for the very first time. Can I get some W's in the chat, guys? Can I get some W's in the comments? For the first time ever, I have ratioed Justin Trudeau. Let's go read the comment here. The comment here is under Justin Trudeau's ridiculous video from yesterday, but my comment was, 8 years later, you totally destroyed our country. I don't even recognize Canada anymore. Look at that. 335 likes for Trudeau, 371 for the Pleb. Give it up. This is an amazing moment. I cannot believe I just ratioed the Prime Minister of Canada. All right, guys, enough about me ratioing Justin Trudeau. Let's get to the story you clicked this video for. Pierre Poilievre absolutely demolishing a journalist. All right, this story starts in Toronto, where Pierre Poilievre was hosting a press conference today to talk about banning the IRGC and the recent attacks on synagogues and the Jewish community. Let's go watch Pierre Poilievre's opening remarks, and then we'll get to the questions.
And Member of Parliament for Thornhill, Melissa Lansman. We have also Common Sense Conservative candidate for York Centre, Roman Baber, former MPP, lawyer, and Raptors fan. Here we are gathered to...
I mean, look at that. Look at that. Roman Baber is at the press conference. He's not even an MP. Do you guys remember this tweet I put out last December here? Roman Baber went to Pierre Poilievre's home for dinner last night. Roman didn't just show up there for Hanukkah celebrations. Business was surely discussed, like his political future in Pierre Poilievre's Conservative Party. Told you guys, and it appears that Roman Baber is a top advisor to Pierre Poilievre, or even a consigliere, as they say in the mafia. He's not even an MP yet, and he's going to press conferences with Pierre. That should tell you everything about the type of position Roman will have in the Poilievre administration. Now, here is what Pierre Poilievre had to say about the IRGC and what's going on in Canada right now. But let me just point out that Melissa Lansman and Roman Baber kind of look like Pierre Poilievre's private security, his Secret Service. All right, let's see what he had to say.
A common sense plan to keep all of our people safe after terrorist attacks against synagogues and schools in Montreal, against innocent Muslims in Quebec City and London, harassment of other communities of faith across this country, including burning down of churches. Enough is enough.
Enough is
enough. We need a common sense government that will protect all of our people, something that our Prime Minister has failed to do after 8 long years. We live in a much more dangerous country where crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder are common in our streets, where people are afraid to live. This is the necessary consequence of Justin Trudeau's bad decisions. He is not worth the crime, not worth the chaos, not worth the danger. It's time for a common sense conservative government that will protect our people. Thank you, and I welcome your questions.
Now we're going to get to the fun part here, the questions, and oh boy, did they not disappoint.
Hi, Paula Loregio with the Canadian Press. Et si vous pouviez répondre dans les 2 langues officielles, je l'apprécierais beaucoup.
Guys, keep in mind that the Canadian Press is the press outlet that keeps putting out hit pieces on Pierre Poilievre. So just know that going into this question, all they do is write hit pieces on the guy.
Do you think it was responsible for you to call yesterday's explosion by the customs, by the checkpoint at the Rainbow Bridge, terrorism, when no U.S. or Canadian officials said that was or authorities said that was the case, and when the New York governor also said there was no evidence to suggest terrorism activity?
Actually, you're wrong. You're with CP? Okay, so CP, by the way, CP, just for everyone's knowledge, did have to make 3 corrections for falsehoods that they put into a single article. I think that might be unprecedented. I'm actually thinking about checking with the Guinness Book of World Records to see if there's ever been a news agency that has had to issue 3 corrections for patent falsehoods that they admit they had been made in one single article, and now you've made yet another falsehood in your question.
A Guinness Book of World Records for the most amount of retractions in an article. Oh. Okay, Pierre is so savage, man. The media has no chance against this guy. They have no chance. They try to play got you, and they end up looking stupid. Pierre's the best.
Where you are wrong is that CTV reported that the government of Canada was presuming that the incident was terrorist. So, yeah, that's what I said in my remarks. You're right. It was a media report.
But it's citing media reports and not...
Which is what I said. In the House, I said there are media reports.
He actually did say media reports. Let's go see the clip.
Just heard media reports of a terrorist attack and explosion at the Niagara crossing of the Canada-U.S. border.
All right, let's get back to this.
What kind of statement? I didn't. I said there were media reports. No, there's no distinction. What I said, and I was right, was that there were media reports of a terror-related event. By your admission, there were media reports of a terror-related event. And that media report, according to CTV, unless you're questioning their integrity now, came from security officials in the Trudeau government. So do you think the CTV was irresponsible in putting out that tweet? Sorry, I'm asking, and I have already answered that. Do you think CTV was irresponsible to put that tweet out? Well, you just did comment. Okay. So, I just hope you're not going to print something that you have to apologize for again.
Another absolutely beautiful Pierre Poilievre moment owning these absolutely dishonest journalists. You know what this calls for? My favorite far-right snack. Now, with a video going absolutely viral like this yet again, you know the comments are going to be great. So how about we go read some? Our first comment comes from Underboob Jess, who says, I cheered so loud. I love him just smacking them down. Let me ask you guys a question. Did you cheer loud when you saw that clip as well? Because I know I did. Jennifer Wu writes, this is a based apple moment here. Hell yeah. Sarge writes, whatever's being taught in journalism school, it isn't working. And it needs to improve. Yeah. Have you guys seen Rachel Gilmore? Next comment comes from Anti-Taxer here saying, Trudeau isn't buying the best with our money. Unacceptable Trisha writes, I laughed so effing hard. You and me both. What did Mace have to say here? Mace writes, Pierre is forcing reporters to come prepared to do their job better. Love it. And our last comment from Derek says he needs to carry an apple in his jacket at all times. That's actually not a bad idea. Now, this is another wild Pierre Poilievre conference, and you know what? That may not even be the wildest part, because guess what? Pierre Poilievre actually allowed Rebel News to come to a press conference and ask questions. You heard that right. Pierre Poilievre let Rebel News into the press conference. We may actually start getting some good questions at these press conferences now that Rebel News is allowed in. Let's listen to Ezra Levant's question to Pierre Poilievre.
Hi, Mr. Poilievre. Ezra
Yes.
Levant from Rebel News. You mentioned certain things that rise to the level of a crime, but there are many things that aren't quite at that level. For example, people marching, calling for an intifada, or using language that may not rise to the level of a criminal prosecution. And you've said before that you respect freedom of speech, even for odious views. But what about people who are not Canadian citizens, who are foreign nationals, perhaps here on a student visa to go to our schools, and instead of studying at university, they're participating in these hate marches, intimidating people, Jewish restaurants, calling for the death of Jews. Again, not criminal level, but these are foreign nationals. Would you support canceling the visas and deporting foreign nationals who, instead of doing what they came here to do, are spreading hate at these pro-Hamas rallies?
Thank you for your question. You raise a number of different issues. One, if someone comes here on a student visa and they're not actually a student, then on that basis alone, they should go home. We don't want to have, one of the problems we have with the student visa program is that it has been used as a fraudulent point of entry, particularly for corrupt employers trying to get labor from abroad. Damn. So in general, we believe that we should shut down all the fraud in the student visa program, and anyone who claims to come here to study that is not actually studying should not be here. With regards to protests, I do believe in freedom of speech. I believe people should be allowed to say things I disagree with, even things that I find appalling. That is the price of living in a free country. The alternative is to have state censors who then decide what kind of speech is acceptable and what is not, and then who chooses those state censors. And then those censors will pick and choose based on their own political views which speech is allowed and which speech is not. That's why I believe in freedom of expression. You mentioned, for example, if someone stands up and calls for violence against a particular group, they can, under the current criminal code, be charged with incitement. Those provisions already exist. And I would encourage law enforcement to make sure those provisions are upheld for any and all people who deliberately incite violence against an identifiable group, because that has been criminalized for many years. And anyone who is convicted of that, who is not a citizen, should obviously not be in Canada.
Exactly. Shout out to Rebel News. Shout out to Ezra Levant for the great question. Shout out to Pierre Poilievre for the super detailed and awesome response. This is what happens when you actually don't censor journalism and you allow journalists in. You have good questions and good answers. Hopefully we see more of this in the future. I'm with Pierre Poilievre and Ezra on this one. Look, if you're going to come to Canada on a student visa, you better be on your best behavior. It is a privilege to live in this country. I know the country's screwed up, but it is still a privilege to be invited to Canada. And the people we invite in this country better show this country some respect. I'm with Pierre Poilievre and Ezra Levant on this one. If you're coming to Canada, whether it's a student visa or a permanent residency, you better be on your best behavior, because it is a privilege to live in Canada. As screwed up as this country is, it's still the greatest country on earth. And if you're going to come here and act a fool and disrespect Canada, I hope they deport you immediately. Now, when a video goes viral like this from Pierre Poilievre smacking down a liberal journalist, you know the left is going to react. And oh boy, did they ever, because they sent their dumbest out here to try to play got you guys on the timeline of Pierre Poilievre's statement here, as Mark Gerretsen comes out and says, correct Doug Ellison, because Doug says, along the many of the unhinged aspects of this response, he claims he was referring to a CTV tweet that was put up after he made his statement in Parliament. Why in Canadian media allowing him to get away with this nonsense? Now, Mark Gerretsen comes out and puts 2:24 p.m. Poilievre made the statement in the House of Commons that the incident was terrorism. 2:39 p.m. CTV's first tweet suggesting terrorism. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we caught Mark Gerretsen lying yet again about the timeline, trying to make Pierre Poilievre, because multiple screenshots are coming out reporting here. Look at this. Now, I just absolutely ratioed Mark Gerretsen here, saying that he's lying, because I have a screenshot from CTV News here reporting, as you guys can see, on the explosion at 1:50 p.m. This is why Mark Gerretsen got ratioed, because Mark Gerretsen is claiming, right guys? He's claiming that their first tweet was at 2:39 p.m. But wow, look what we have here, ladies and gentlemen. A tweet from CTV at 1:50 p.m. And I just had to go put Mark Gerretsen's face on the top of it. But Mark Gerretsen embarrassing himself and taking L's doesn't end just there. On the same week where I came out and showed you guys that Mark Gerretsen is now projected to lose his riding, Mark Gerretsen decided to come out and put an attack ad on Pierre Poilievre, saying, hey, genius. Now, I won't read this tweet because I'm going to show you guys that Mark Gerretsen essentially attacks Pierre Poilievre on Twitter here and makes a spelling error on his tweet. Let's go read this. The irony of this situation where Mark Gerretsen comes out to Pierre Poilievre and says, hey, genius, and read this here at the end. Notwithstanding the fact that you're completely wrong on this and literally spreading lies, do you need to be reminded which government made the trade deal to allow temporary foreign workers from South Korea, ? You guessed it, guys. G-U-E-S-T. You guessed it. Harper. And you were the labor minister. Ah, yes. Isn't it great watching Mark Gerretsen try to be condescending and call Pierre a genius? And he can't even spell guessed it right. In our next story, it appears that freedom is on the rise across the world, as populist conservative leaders are getting elected all over the place. First with Italy, now with Argentina, and now with the Netherlands. And the reactions to these new leaders is actually kind of great. In this viral clip here, a Muslim immigrant in the Netherlands says he's going back to his country because the far-right leader won.
Yes, broeders,
He's literally packing his bags. He's packing his bags and leaving himself. Wow, so all you have to do is elect a far-right leader and the immigrants leave themselves? Who knew? Or how about the reaction from the left when the new president of Argentina, Javier Milei, won his election? Look at this. It's precious.
Político, social y económico de la Argentina.
Oh my God, they cry there too. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, libtards. No matter where they live, Canada, Argentina, United States, or pretty much anywhere, they are all the same. Giant crybabies. All right, guys, in our last story here, I got a new viral clip here from Ryan Gerretsen of people all around the world saying exactly how they feel about Justin Trudeau. And this is just the perfect way to end off tonight's report. Let's enjoy this hilarious compilation.
Shame on you and your globalist counterparts. You're scumbag. You're a scumbag. You're an absolute scumbag.
Mr. Trudeau, you are a disgrace for any democracy. Please spare us your presence. Thank you.
Well, he's two-faced.
Well, they're both Marxists.
Hey there, how you doing? Shaking your hand, boy. You piece of shit. Why is that, sir?
While you've been here soaking up the rays.
Making fun of Muslims all year. You're fake.
Oof. Yeah, he's gross. He's a sketchy guy.
Yeah.
And to all the people in that party, you are going to become third-party status in this election if this stuff keeps going on.
Has Justin Trudeau just crossed the line from normal liberal corruption to cartoon supervillainy?
Yeah.
Look at Justin Trudeau. He's absurd.
Catastrophically, moronically stupid.
It's riddled by stupidity because of stupid leaders.
Oh, Justin, just stop, man, person, whatever you want to call yourself. If you want to be the most ultra woke leader in the world, that's fine.
That clip honestly feels like a compilation of the best of the Pleb Reporter. So many amazing clips that we've played on this channel in the past. Thank you so much for bringing back great memories. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today's video, but I want to know what you guys think of Pierre's back and forth with that reporter. Was that one of his most savage moments? Was that as savage as the "how do you like them apples" moment? Let me know in the comments down below what you think of Pierre Poilievre and that reporter's question. As usual, guys, thanks for watching tonight's report. Smash the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button, share the video, tell your friends about the Pleb Reporter. My name is the Pleb. I'll see you guys at the next report. Peace.